What is going on, everybody? Tyler Brandt back here with another video. Happy Monday, another Monday here on the channel, and we're going to get into another week of training camp. This week now, week 2 in Pat's camp, things are going to start to intensify a little bit. By the end of this week, we should have a very firm grasp on what the final 53 will look like, who's going to make the roster, who's really going to pop this year, and it's going to be a fun week, an interesting week of training camp. So I figured to start the week, granted there's already been pretty much at this point 2 training camps in the books this week. They still got a bunch more as we head into the heart of the week. So I think today we're going to break down some of the things that, as Pat fans or as a Patriot fan myself, I would like to see this week to make me feel a little bit more comfortable going into the regular season, because there's been some good stuff at camp, some bad stuff at camp, some things that make me feel very uncomfortable. So we're going to break down some of the things that I think the Patriots need to put on tape and put on a show at camp to show people that, you know, it's going to be okay in 2020. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Some things to expect, some things to look for that I'm looking for in week 2 of Patriots training camp. We, of course, are going to start at the quarterback position. Now, after I released my video on Friday about Cam Newton pretty much taking the, first big steps in the quarterback battle, we did learn that later on that evening, Jarrett Stidham went to the hospital Thursday night. We knew that. Comes back, and he actually has a hip injury, and he won't be 100% for quite a while. So that story develops, and now it looks like Cam Newton is officially the guy. I mean, at this point, it's probably about over. Even in practice, as recent as today on Monday, Cam and Brian Hoyer are way distancing themselves, at least snap count-wise, from Jarrett Stidham. So the hip injury is going to put him on the shelf for a while. What that means for his future, we'll, certainly see. But it is Cam Newton's job to, at this point, lose. And at this point, he's pretty much got it locked up. With that being said, in week 2 of training camp, I would like to see Cam Newton get a little bit more nuanced on this offense and get a little bit more honed in. We've already seen him, taking steps, working with Julian Edelman. That connection is really starting to grow. From everything I've read, him and Devin Asiasi have really gotten a nice connection going. Damiere Byrd has had himself a good camp, and he's had a good rapport with Damiere Byrd. In Sunday's camp, he was 29 of 39 in reps, both 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. So he's really starting to get into his zone. He's really starting to look good. Both Sunday and Monday's camp, he did look very good, and he was making some good connections, especially with Julian Edelman, who's probably going to end up being his go-to guy. He is Mr. Reliable. We've seen everything that Julian Edelman has done for this franchise. So Cam comes in. It's his job. I want to see him really take the next steps up in this offense. In terms of the leadership role, he shows up to camp. He works his ass off every single day, and we see it on tape. We see what the reporters are saying. The other day at Sunday's camp, he took a break with the offensive linemen, so building a rapport with his offensive line. He's doing all the right things, and I'm excited for Cam Newton in 2020. It's his job. He's locked in. He's just working and grinding and chipping away at it every day. So I'm ready for Cam Newton in 2020 on New England. This week from the running backs, I would like to see Lamar Miller or Sony Michel just get out on the practice field, even if it's non-contact, and just walk through some stuff and do some stuff. I think that may be a stretch. I'm not necessarily guaranteed that we're going to see either one of them, as they're both rehabbing, but it would just be nice to see either one of them at least, get out there and walk through stuff, like I was saying. Although I will say Rex Burkhead and Damian Harris, especially Damian Harris, have been very, very good this week. Harris has been really, really good. He's showing a lot of promise, and he's going to, I think, have a prominent role in this running back room and for this group of running backs in 2020. And beyond that, for the running backs, J.J. Taylor, as not only as a punt and a kick returner, but just as a change of pace, really speedy, really speedy, elusive back. He's also had himself a very good week at training camp. So the running back position has looked good. I think they'll probably be fine, but I would just like to see Lamar Miller or Sony Michel at any point this week in practice. Next up for me on the things that I would like to see this week at training camp, and here's the first red flag that makes me a little weary. Now, as of shooting this on Monday, N'Keal Harry had his best camp of the entire season so far. He had a nice over-the-shoulder catch over J.C. Jackson. I think he caught a nice goal line fade. He got a lot of red zone work, and I think that's promising. But for me, I need between Sanu and N'Keal Harry, someone's got to start the pop, and someone's got to start the pop more consistently. I hope N'Keal Harry takes this Monday practice and really runs with it. But from both of those receivers, we've heard good things, and we've heard that N'Keal has come back slimmer, and Sanu's worked on his footwork, and all this stuff, but we've yet to see any of it really transition into on-the-field differences. Neither one of them have really gained a lot of separation. A lot of the catches they were making were underneath stuff when the defense had already kind of taken their foot off the gas a little bit, and it's just honestly not promising. So I would like to see both of them step up. We've gotten, from looking at camp, contributions from guys that have really worked at it and taken the next few steps. That's Gunnar Olszewski, Demir Bird. Those two look like they may be locks to make the roster. Julian Edelman was battling some sort of injury, and he's looked pretty good. He's starting, again, to build that connection with Cam Newton. But the two guys that have yet to really take the next step and pop, at least to me, have been Mohamed Sanu and N'Keal Harry. So I'm looking for both of them to start putting together consistently better practices, because those are the two guys that are, especially N'Keal, but those are the two guys that are the physically imposing difference makers on the wide receiving core. I mean, we know Demir Bird's a speedy guy. We know Gunnar is kind of working his way into being maybe the next slot Wes Welker, Julian Edelman kind of guy. And we know, Jules is Jules. But we need, as a team, and this team needs a little bit of a physical presence at wide receiver, and that's what Sanu and especially N'Keal Harry are supposed to be. So I would like to see a little bit more from both of them this week at camp. I would also like to see Anfernee Jennings get on the field and see what he can really do at the next level. He's practiced a few days. He's also been on the PUP a few days. So I'm really not sure where he is at health-wise or why he's been missing practices. But I would like to see him put together a few good practices just to see what he's got and if he's going to be ready for the 2020 season and what role he should have in the 2020 season. Now, beyond that, we know Josh Uche has looked pretty good. There's been some, shortcomings in his game. From everything I've read, as a run defender coming down to stop the run at the linebacker position, he's looked very wishy-washy, although as of Monday's practice, he looked pretty good, but significantly in the run-stopping game. But I'm ready to see Anfernee Jennings. He's someone that can come in and rush the passer. I would like to see him do a couple things like that. I just want to see where he is in terms of 2020. And with that linebacking core all getting snaps, Juwan Bentley hasn't really, turned or done anything amazing at camp, but he's looked good. Someone in the linebacking core that's looked very good is Cash Malua. He's looked very good. He's had an interception and a forced fumble. So I'm very intrigued to see what his role is. I know he got hurt. Hopefully it's just like a little stinger on Monday in training camp, but he's looked very good. So the linebacking core is coming together. I'd like to see Jennings come in and, help that cohesion on the linebacking core. For the safeties, I want to see Kyle Duggar continue to wreck the game plan of the offense. He's probably been, from everything that I've read, the best defensive rookie on the team by a large margin coming into this season and coming through these training camps. He's instinctive. He's around the ball. He plays downfield. He's, pretty good in coverage. He's always, again, around the ball. He knows how the game works. He's picking things up very fast, which is the biggest red flag when they drafted him from a D2 school. So that's probably been the biggest question mark, and he's come in and he's addressed that excellently. He's looked good. I want Kyle Duggar to just keep balling out in camp, claim that Patrick Chung strong safety role, and run with it and be the next career safety in New England that'll make a career here. It starts at your rookie year, and Kyle Duggar is doing a damn good job of that. And finally, let's get into something that I pray to the football gods that this works out, but it's the mess of a kicking situation in New England. And it looks like it's going to be a train wreck, if I'm being honest. I mean, as we look on Monday, it's bad. It's just flat out question marks everywhere. Nick Folk is back to give Justin Rohrwasser a little bit of a competition to win the job. But Rohrwasser kicks field goals a week from today on Monday, last Monday in camp. he goes 3 for 5. That's quite frankly not very good. He doesn't kick for the rest of the week. He's all of a sudden on the injury report, or there's an injury scare with him. Then the next day after that injury comes out, or whatever that is, he's kicking field goals again. Now, if he was injured and he decided to kick, he didn't do himself any favors. One reporter, the perfect word to use, as I read, was erratic. He missed the kicking net on some kicks. He did make a couple kicks. He made one from 50. He made a couple on the skinny post. It's just all over the place. It really, really is. If you're missing the kicking net, quite frankly, that scares the crap out of me. So I'm not sure where this kicking game is at. I don't mind, I guess, bringing in Nick Folk, but I don't also expect Nick Folk to make anything north of 35 yards, really. So I don't really know where this kicking game is at. I'm honestly confused. I don't have an answer. I don't have a witty remark for it. You know, I just keep thinking, why don't they sign Gostkowski back? But from what I was reading, he was offered spots with teams and he's turned offers down. He's looking for the perfect situation. Does that mean he's turned New England down? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And the frustrating thing is bad teams are bad special teams and bad kickers. That's not a good team problem. Good teams don't have problems kicking field goals. So all of a sudden, if this becomes an issue that stretches into the regular season, which you're going to have a hard time convincing me that it's not going to, this just scares the crap out of me. I mean, on an offense that is going to take a while to really get nuanced, even into the regular season, where you can't leave points on the field, I have no idea who's kicking field goals for New England. I really don't. And I don't think Nick Folk is making much north of 35. And I mean, for goodness sake, Rohrwasser's missing the kicking net half the time. So I'm truly lost. I don't know. I'm truly, truly lost. I'm praying that this week there's some sort of an answer in the kicking game for New England. But all we can do is pay close attention to camp this week and watch that story unfold. That is going to do it for this one. Again, the things that I would like to see in week 2 of training camp as training camp intensifies, as we get down to our last few real padded and real legitimate practices. So what do you think? What did you like in week 1 of practice? What are you looking forward to in week 2 of practice? How scared are you? Should I relax about the kicking game? Am I overreacting? Just leave it all in the comments down below. I would love to chop it up with you about football. Before we end this, I do want to say we gained a ton of new subscribers in the last really 4 or 5 days. If you're new to the channel, thank you, thank you, thank you for your subscription. I say it at the end of every video. I appreciate every single one of you that are subscribing, that are being active in the comments. It's an awesome conversation. It's an awesome environment. If you want a little bit more, you can follow me on Twitter at the Tyler Brandt and on Instagram at Talking Pats. Again, we could chop it up there. Love to talk about football, any kind of football. But until next time, once again, I'm Tyler Brandt. Thank you for subscribing. Stay healthy, be good, and I'll catch you on the next video.